Hi guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be doing another interview. You guys really sort of reacted to the first one, liked it, so yeah, we're doing another one. We've got Sandbox Interactive's very own AOKostan. You guys probably know him from things like the Albion online stream, as well as just dotted around the game. He is one of the GMs, I believe, as well. Like, he's a little bit of everywhere at the moment, so yeah, we're going to get straight into the interview. Hello.
Hello.
So, firstly, obviously, thank you for being here. It's much appreciated to have you here at all. I know you're a busy man.
It's a busy time of year for me for sure. That's 100% accurate, my friend.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. So, firstly, just tell me a bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do with like Sandbox? Just a little bit of an introduction to yourself, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So my in-game name is Kostan. That's what I go by on pretty much every platform. With Sandbox, I'm working with Emma. Evoke is her handle, of course, on the stream. So I do typically the Monday Battle Howl episode is my time slot, as well as the fight nights on Thursday. So you can find me streaming on the Albion online official channel, usually 2 days a week. You know, sometimes 3, sometimes 1. It depends on the schedule, but that's the overview of it anyway.
All right, cool. And yeah, okay. So we get into sort of the gameplay stuff. First of all, how many betas have you played? Alphas have you played? Like, how long have you been playing Albion Online?
I really started playing in the first beta. I had an account prior to the first beta, but I didn't play much. A little bit here and there in like the winter alpha. You know, I really started funneling time into the game in the first beta. So I think in beta 1, I logged something like 1,200 plus hours across 6 characters or something ludicrous. I was playing it like all day, every day. So that's definitely where it started off for me.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot. I don't even think I've managed to log that this far in like beta 3, and I play this religiously as like a job. That's pretty insane. So out of all of the betas, what was your favorite one? Like, what's the reasoning for like certain memories sticking out in betas?
I mean, it's maybe a little bit of the nostalgia kicking in, but I probably had the most fun in beta 1. A lot of that's going to come from, obviously, the people I played with. So I played in Money Guild on beta 1. I had a ton of fun with those guys, like Derek from our Acid HC, Junbugs, all these guys. You know, we had a ton of fun in Money Guild. I also appreciated the style of the game a little bit more in beta 1, I think. You know, from a stance perspective, it was maybe a little bit more hardcore. You know, mobs executed you. You had to wear a relatively high tier of gear in order to get fame towards your next tier of gear, so there's a little bit more risk. The map design was maybe a little bit more, I guess, tight at that point. The maps were smaller and there wasn't a lot of places to run, so you'd see oftentimes more combat. Fame was harder to come by, so it pretty much promoted PvP the entire time. That was definitely some of my fondest Albion memories for sure, spending time in the OG Hollow Heart for, I don't even want to know, hours on end, farming mobs, like the 4 or 5 dungeon rotation in the black zones, where you were pretty much guaranteed to find PvP in almost every one of them because that was the best fame, and you constantly had to either defend it or take it away from someone else. Those were definitely my fondest Albion memories so far in beta 1.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, you're not the first person. I never actually got the chance to play beta 1. I heard of the game back then, but like at the time I was doing completely different things and never thought I'd be playing this sort of thing. But yeah, everyone I've spoken to has told me that beta 1 was like where it was at in terms of, if you're a PvPer, that's when the game was at its peak, so to speak, so far.
And fun.
And that 3 has kind of moved it back in the right direction towards that. So hopefully I'm getting some sort of accurate representation. But yeah, it's definitely highly regarded beta 1. So obviously we've had this conversation already, and you were saying that you've played pretty much every build at some point. What's like your favourite builds that you've played with? What's like the notable ones that you can go, yeah, that is a build that just sits well with me?
Yeah, I've had a chance to play, I mean, a wide variety of builds. I've probably spent the most time playing around with, say, Great Curse Staff, for example. I played like Great Hammer this beta. I played a lot of pole hammer before. I played daggers before, fire staff before. I played arcane before. I just crossbow. All those things I've had a ton of fun playing. In regards to my favorite weapon, probably I've always really enjoyed playing Curse. I don't know if it's the gameplay or just the mentality behind it. I like that it's a damage-based class that provides some support functionality, if you will, or some debuff potential with Armor Piercer. I think it provides you with a reasonable amount of dynamic gameplay from a damage perspective in the class in that regards. I've had probably almost equivalent amount of fun this beta playing the Great Hammer. It's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Very rarely do I kill anybody, but it's all about the setups and the engagement. You know, I love running tackle into like a heavy cleave or, you know, a slowing charge or something, and then it's just the opposite side of the fight. So the engagement is super fun. You know, if you're willing to dive headfirst into the enemies, you'll have a lot of fun playing that side. If I had to choose a favorite on the other end of the spectrum, probably Curse Staff for the damage dealing side. I played Arcane support as well last beta, and I have to admit, I think Arcane probably has the highest skill ceiling in the game. So like a really strong Arcane player, you're going to notice, and that made it quite enjoyable for me. But beyond that, you know, like I said, there's not a lot of kill potential in that. There's not a lot of kill potential in the Great Hammer currently. Hopefully, knock on wood, we'll see some changes in Hector that'll help that out. But definitely, I would say those three have kind of been my favorites so far: Arcane, the Hammer, and the Curse Staff.
Yeah, that's really cool. Obviously, me, myself, Curse is my baby. I've played Curse literally since within 12 hours of being in the game. I picked up a Curse Staff, and I've at one point or another had a character playing Curse, so I get what you're saying with that. But yeah, it's interesting to see that you've gone from kind of a backline support to a frontline tank in a very quick swap, sort of, so to speak. But yeah, that kind of goes over like the favorite weapons, going over like Great Curse and stuff like that. So obviously we've got Hector coming up soon, in the upcoming week, isn't it? It's really close now.
Very close, yep.
Yeah. So what's your sort of favorite features? What sticks out in the Hector patch for you that you're just going, yeah, I really can't wait to get involved in this?
You know, I think one of the more interesting changes in the Hector update is actually the reworking of potions. Provides like quite a bit of variation as opposed to right now, you know, we could say or argue it's kind of stagnant. If you look at it in today's iteration of the game, most people are basically running probably a resistance potion or a healing potion. That's pretty much the only two viable potions that there are. I guess energy potion, depending on what's going on, but not likely. So I like the potion concept moving into Hector. You know, I think the invisibility potion is going to provide a ton of gameplay potential. For those of you out there who haven't seen it yet, you could tune into Battle Hell or watch the VOD. You'll see it, or hop on the staging server and try it out yourself. It's an invisibility potion that has no distance break, so that provides like a ton of potential offensively, defensively, to set up a play. You know, you pop run or whatever your sprint is, slam down the invisibility potion, and you can travel a very far distance before that breaks. So I expect we'll see it utilized kind of all over the place. So that's definitely piqued my interest. You know, they have the Gigantify potion as well, which is maybe slightly gathering based, right? But also increases your hit points. They have the sticky potion and the poison potion. There's just a lot of variation in the potion side of things that wasn't there previously that I think you'll see helps round out maybe a few builds that are slightly lackluster now. It's going to probably help out the solo ganking or even small group ganking a little bit. I'm excited to see where those changes in Hector take us, honestly.
Yeah, you're one of the first people actually that has really mentioned the potions as being something that they're really looking forward to. Obviously, everyone's looking at things like the Black Market Auction House or the Black Zone sort of changes, the massive changes. But yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. Like the potion changes, I'm really looking forward to being that one first team that runs 5 poison potions and just pops someone with ridiculous amount of damage.
Drops them instantly or something,
exactly.
You know? I like that. I like that.
I definitely agree with you that at the moment, like, I occasionally run a recovery potion as one-handed curse. But other than that, I don't think I've ever used anything else but a recovery potion. Like, they're just too strong, and there isn't really another alternative. The only thing
Yeah, that's exactly it.
the only thing I'm a little bit worried about, truthfully, is that I think like solo PvEers, people farming in the black zone, could potentially just use invis as like, okay, I can just have run on my boots, invis, and that's me safe. I'm a bit unsure about that, but then again, it also might give a reason for like demonic to come out on the old hunting groups, which should be
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
cool.
curious to see how many people actually will run at least some form of AoE when they're open world ganking for that very reason, right? If you see like an invisibility potion drink, like it takes a second or like I think it's a half second or quarter second to actually activate. And if you dropped AoE immediately, it would basically break the potion instantly. So there is some counterplay there. It's just you're right. That's definitely going to be, you know, if you're a gatherer or out gathering, like say tier 7, or you're trying to raid territories and get tier 8, like invisibility potion is going to be your wheelhouse, right? You think you're in any danger at all, you just pop your, you know, at that point you might even have flee. Imagine if you had gathering boots with flee on them, how far you could go with like an invisibility potion. I'm not sure if the silence from the flee would stop you from drinking the potion or not, but if it doesn't, you could go like miles while you were invisible. It'd be crazy defensive.
I actually believe that's something I've already tested, and it does, because it stops you having food as well.
Oh, that's good.
I actually tried Wanderlust with the invis pot, and you just waited till it built up a little bit with the Wanderlust changes in the next patch on the soldier boots or the gathering boots as well. That's going to be a really strong combination.
Yeah, you can put so much distance between yourself and literally anyone else. Or alternatively, I was speaking about it on stream the other day. If you popped invisibility potion and then just didn't move, you know, the attacker's probably going to assume you're running somewhere, and the duration is so long that they would probably give up hope after a little bit that you stayed where you were and just like wait for a while, let everybody peace out a little bit, mount up and run away. I'll probably utilize that tactic myself at some point.
Yeah, I've done that occasionally with the old assassin jacket. I actually used to run with an assassin jacket and mercenary boots when I was out leveling, just because everyone presumes you're going to use the assassin jacket to run away, and they don't tend to check the boots, so you just stand there with mercenary shoes, invis, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Get that like massive move speed increase and run away, mount up, and you're gone. Survived so many ganks like that. Okay, is there anything that you're maybe a little unsure of, not sure how it's going to play out in the grand scheme of things in the Hector patch?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that I think, you know, I'm excited about, but also slightly skeptical about. And it's just, again, you know, you need the numbers to test it to know the exact viability. So, you know, you mentioned previously people are excited about like the Caerleon Central Hub change, the portals to the Outlands, the Realm Gate, you know, the changes overall just to the game itself, Hellgate changes, things like that. I think all those are pros, but I'm also curious to see how they function with a large player base. So, I mean, I guess my largest concern is essentially power projection and how viable the Outlands are in regards to what attracts players to them. So, as it stands right now, people have this mentality that the Outlands are kind of like the big bad wolf, right? You got to have a 200-man Zerg to compete. It's the ghost story heard round the royal continent. You know, that's my biggest concern, because I want the Outlands to be kind of fruitful and like full of players, like tons of PvP everywhere. The draw to the Outlands has to be big for that. I think the changes to Caerleon being a central hub, eliminating the Black Zone cities, throwing the Realm Gate in there is going to help that. I'm just also concerned at the same time how they put more territories or more availability to GVG potentially is a better way to look at it on the Royal Continent. So for example, if you check out the staging server, you'll see farms that are located on the Royal Continent now. Interestingly enough, if you go have a look at all of the biome cities on the Royal Continent, there is a farm territory that you can take immediately outside of them, like one zone away.
Yeah.
Those are going to be economically very strong, right? You're looking at like a farm territory that has like your increased yield, faster production times, all this stuff, right? So someone holding that is going to become very valuable. So if it's me and I'm a Black Zone guild and I want passive silver income, I'm going to go take over Fort Sterling. I'm going to own the farm right outside of it. I'm going to make sure that we're nonstop farming mounts there or potions or whatever is a nice like silver generator and selling it in that city. Ideally, I'm going to try and dominate the market in that city. So that's a very large economic incentive to own continent space on the Royal Continent that doesn't exist basically in the Outlands, right? So I'm just a little bit hesitant about the risk reward of the Outlands versus the Royal Continent. I don't want people to stay on the Royal Continent forever. You know, come play with us in the Outlands. It's a fun game. But I'm just a little concerned. And again, like I said, we'll have to see it, the numbers and how it pans out, how many people there are at release, how many people there are at Hector, you know, on June 7th when it goes live for testing. We'll start to see that pan out a little further. I think you can see that kind of repercussion happening already in the current iteration of the beta, right? There's some very strong, typically high-end Black Zone guilds that own a lot of territory on the Royal Continent because they can and because it's where they get fights. They probably don't even really care about the territory, right? They just want GVGs. So that's what concerns me the most, I guess, is the balance between the Royal and the Outland continents and making sure there's enough drive for a regular player to think that they should belong in the Outlands with everybody else.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, I like the idea that Black Zones. So obviously, I've recently joined up with Umbral, and I've been watching their fights, and they just don't get fights. And when people are seeing them as like a guild that is established and doing well at the moment, they just it's immediately running away. And obviously, that's hoping to change with the Hellgates. I'm liking the fact that the Black Zone guilds like Red Army, Echo of Silence, them bigger guilds that have just been like secluded in the Black Zone for just the entirety of the beta, really, are gonna like be more involved in the Royal Continent. So I'm kind of hoping that it goes both ways. The big guilds come back to the Royals a little bit, and then the smaller guilds or the solo players or the sort of smaller man players are gonna head out to the Black Zone. So I do agree. I hope this sort of it works both ways in that aspect. But yeah, so obviously with launch now, what, about a month and a week away, isn't it? It's about 5 weeks.
Coming up quick, yep.
Yeah, it is. Like when I first started this game, it was over 3 months away, and it just seems to have gone like just so quickly. Have you got any specific plans? Have you started working on that yet? Have you got builds built out? Have you got anything set, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I always typically map out what I want to play on kind of all 6 of my characters, or how I'm going to utilize learning points on them at the very least. By default, typically for me, like day 1 rush is strictly PvE fame, only because territory ownership is so vital in like the first day of the game especially. So, you know, you need that 1 million silver, 1 million fame to be able to claim a territory, and you can only claim it in your prime time window. So the guild has very specific goals at that point about what's required of the members and how we're going to achieve that within the prime time window based on when the server goes up. So for me, it's typically like nonstop faming all day. On a personal point, you know, any silver I have, I'm also converting to gold, just because on the first day, you know, you're looking at buying a gold for a silver almost for the first while. I think in this beta, it was up to like 15 or 18 or 20 silver or something by the time I was getting ready to purchase our territory. So even then, it's still ridiculously inexpensive in comparison to what it will become.
Oh, yeah,
so I'll be dumping all of my silver into that, right? The long-term investment, as much silver as possible. So typically it means dungeon running, or, you know, if I'm potentially looking at skinning or whatever else, I'll be grinding animals. So there won't be any silver there, unfortunately. But if it all goes to plan, I'll probably be on my main character nonstop PvE fame until I can't stay awake anymore. That's the idea. Just to get as far out in front as possible, make sure we have a good start, help the guild secure a territory if possible, and then, you know, worry about the other stuff after that. So
yeah, that's fair enough. It's pretty similar to the plans of most people. Try to get territory lockdown, really. That seems to be the biggest thing in everyone's mind, is that like tier 6 gear is another goal that a lot of people have said, but no one rates it as highly as like securing them first few farms so you can get mounts on the go on a fast cycle, or food growing as quick as you can, all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, so that's kind of it for the interview, unless there's anything you want to add, sort of anything at all you want to ask back. Other than that, feel free, like I said, I think you've done it already, but chuck another shout out to your stream, like the stream you do with Sandbox. Any sort of info you've got there, basically.
yeah, sure. So Just again, if you don't already have the game, folks, you got to go out and buy it. It's well worth the $30. Maybe throw out there too that I'm not sure if anyone else has mentioned it, but eventually Founders Packs will go away. They'll be replaced with Starters Packs. Starters Packs are going to be basically the same price and have less features, so you might as well pick up a Founders Pack now if you haven't already. Probably Guskey's got his referral code up here somewhere with the video, I'm sure. Just give that a click and help the man out with some referral bonuses. You can catch me, Kostan, on the Albion Online official channel. Mondays at 19 UTC is when Battle Howl airs. You can check out the Discord information, hop in my Discord. We do a lot of discussion in there prior. All of my social stuff's up on my Twitch profile if you want to check that out. It's AOKostan. Twitter is AOKostan. Pretty much everywhere you can find me, AOKostan. So definitely swing by the Albion Online official channel. Let us know what you think and how we can get better. If you're going to buy the game, use Guskey's referral code. Help him out a little bit. And yeah, thanks, Guskey. Appreciate the interview a lot, my friend.
I appreciate you being here. It is much appreciated. Yeah, not many people are actually making the time. It is much appreciated that you can be here. So thank you very much.
Of course, appreciate it.
So guys, obviously that was the interview with Kostan there. The guy's a really good guy. I'm actually going to grab his referral link. His referral link will be down below. Help him out. If you are looking to buy the game, if you've seen this and you're interested, chuck his referral link in, give it a click, buy the game, and yeah, definitely give it a go. It's worth buying now rather than buying after beta, because you get more now. You get more playtime for free. Like, you can do so much more if you buy it now. Even if you're just looking to try it out and you were looking to actually pick up the game come launch, still worth getting now. Anyway guys, this has been a really long interview. Again, another big thank you to Kostan. Other than that guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and catch you later. Goodbye.